Hi, welcome to Find Your Flock. I'm your host, Dr. Sandra Clavijo from the Schaefer School of Engineering and Science at Stevens. If you're unsure about which engineering major to choose, you're in the right place. Each episode, I chat with students and recent grads about their favorite classes, internships, professors, and more, helping you discover the path that fits you. Today's guest is a third-year student in software engineering, Gianna Cerbone. Welcome to Find Your Flock.
Hi, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. We always like to get started where we find out a little bit about yourself and what you are studying at Stevens.
So I'm studying software engineering and I'm planning to pursue my master's in space systems engineering right now.
Excellent. And I believe you came in as an engineering undecided student. So tell us, how did you become decided? How did you come to study software engineering at Stevens?
So I came in as engineering undecided because I really had like no idea what I wanted to do at all in my job or like going forward. I just knew I wanted to do engineering, and that was kind of my driving force to come to Stevens in the first place. So once I got here, I decided to go undecided, and I knew I had to declare eventually, and I did have programming experience from high school. So my method of trying to figure out what I wanted to do was to talk to as many people as possible, which is what I did. And then also, Stevens is great because you could take all those engineering spine courses. So you get a little bit of each engineering discipline while you're in those undergraduate or underclassmen, classes. So that was great. And honestly, the reason I decided software engineering was when I was speaking to a faculty advisor of mine in the SE department. And I was kind of telling her my struggle with it, and she was just like, do software engineering. It sounds like that's like what is best for you. And I said, okay. And it was the best decision I ever made, honestly. Like, I love my major. And once I got into internships and everything, it really helped to have this sort of skill set because no matter what industry you're going into, they kind of need a software engineer. So that was great. And yeah.
So, for our listeners who may not know, what is software engineering? Do you think you could try to describe it to us in simple terms?
Yeah, I could try. It's definitely one of the engineering disciplines that's hard to describe because it's one of the newer ones, I would say. Like in terms of engineering, there's always been mechanical or electrical, but software is a little bit newer. So software engineering to me is planning a software project. So whether it's like an app or something web related, or even just like a software tool or application, planning it from start to finish and using engineering techniques in order to do that. So that's where it kind of differs from computer science. Um, and I've talked to a lot of incoming students that they're like, what's the difference between computer science and software engineering? There is a big difference, especially at Stevens, because the software engineering curriculum really sets you up for more of like the planning and the not managerial, but okay, we need to start this from like start to finish, like a life cycle. And the coding of that is really just a small aspect in software engineering. Definitely important to know, but it's not all about that. So you have a wider skill set, I would say. Um, it involves things like agile development, analysis requirements, things like that. And yeah, that's what I guess that I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you. That is the number one question at admission events too.
Yeah.
Many incoming students always want to know the difference between software engineering and computer science. So I think you're helping us break down that mystery. You mentioned a couple of the topics in software engineering. What has your favorite class been so far at Stevens?
Actually, my favorite class has been agile development. It's SSW 555. That's the course code. I am taking it with um a lot of my like software engineering like peers, undergraduate peers. So we've been in all these classes together, and we got really lucky because this class you are set up with the client, and every semester there's a different project. So you really don't know what you're gonna get. And we got a pretty cool one. We are making a space themed video game. Super cool and definitely in my interest. So I'm very happy with it. And the whole class is basically we're just developing this. And it, of course, is about the implementation of we want to get a working video game, but really the class is agile. So working together as a team, there's a scrum master, there's a testing lead. Like each of us takes on a role in this big group and we develop it together. And I've really liked that. It really like has given me a glimpse into what like Scrum is and agile and everything like that. And it's been really fun. And the professor is great. Annie, she's the best. She was actually the advisor that convinced me to do software engineering way back when I was a freshman. And now I'm taking her class and it's great. So that's definitely my favorite class.
Just tell us more about this wonderful professor so that other students may want to seek her out and ask their
She's
questions.
she's just the best, honestly. She's really helpful and really engaged with her students. And like she knows us by name. Um, Professor Yu, like Y U is like her last name. But she goes by Annie. And yeah, I think it was a freshman year project where I had to interview an advisor in my department. And I was just placed into a random department because I was undecided. So I interviewed her and we had a very casual conversation of I don't know what I want to do and everything. And she was like, it actually doesn't matter that much. Like, if you have an interest in coding, you could do software. And it was very easy. Like, it was actually a very easy decision, and it was a good decision that I made. And yeah, she's very involved with her students. She knows most of us by name. She wants us to succeed, which is always great to have a professor like that. And so this class has just been like my favorite class so far. And yeah, and our video game is almost done, so I'm super excited about that.
That sounds amazing. Um, so favorite classes, but what has been your hardest class, unless it's the same class? So what has been your hardest class so far at Stevens, and how did you get through it?
I think one of the hardest classes was for me probability and statistics, the engineering one. It just it wasn't in my interest, number one, so it's hard to like do well in a class when you're not as like interested in it, I think. And then number two, I took it online. So I think taking classes online is not always beneficial. Like we all went through COVID. When I was taking classes online in COVID, it was not the best time at all. Um, so I would say I struggled with it because of those two things. Wasn't something I was interested in, was online, but I did get through it because I was able to, have study groups, really like dedicate my time into like understanding the concepts. And then I think I ended up getting a pretty good grade. So it wasn't super hard once I really like focused a lot of my time into it. And during that semester, I like kind of prioritized that class. I was like, okay, this is my hard class. The others I can kind of, mitigate tasks and like understand this, but this one I have to put a little bit more time into. So I kind of just assessed that and it went from there.
Excellent. Some great strategies for our listeners. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Um, so switching gears and talking a little bit about some of the clubs and extracurriculars that you are involved with. I think I see IEEE, Incosi. If you
Yeah.
want to tell us a little bit about your involvement and those organizations and how it either relates to your major or doesn't relate to your major, let us hear about that.
Yeah, great question. So my freshman year, I wasn't really involved in anything like clubs or organization wise, but I was a Fly student. So I'm part of the Fly network. I'm a first gen and limited income student. So I was in the first generation LLC as a freshman. That was great. First generation kids, I always try and find them at accepted students weekend and talk to them because it's definitely a shift coming to college when your family didn't and you have really no idea what you're doing. So that was my freshman year. And then I'm also a STEP student, so I did the bridge program 6 weeks before my freshman year. I came here, lived on campus, took classes, and that was because I was also an EOF student, so I'm an Educational Opportunity Fund student. which put me part of the STEP program, which is the Stevens Technical Enrichment Program. That's also been a community for me on campus, and they're great. And I've been involved with them since my freshman year and before that. So those were the only things that I was really like a part of. And then after that, after freshman year, I went on co-op my fall semester of sophomore year. I did end up dropping co-op because I wanted to pursue my master's, and at the time they weren't allowing like the 4 or 5 years. I just wanted to do it quicker, so after that, I dropped co-op and I kind of picked up AMP, and that was my academic plan from there. But when I came back spring of my sophomore year, I was like, okay, I have good grades. I'm good at like time management and everything like that. Like I want to get involved with an organization. So I went to a few of them and I found IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. Obviously, I'm not a electrical engineering student. My first internship was electrical engineering, so I kind of just wanted to see what it was about because I had that background in it. And I loved it. The workshops were so fun, so informative. They had a lot of professional development events. And so at the end of that year, I ran for treasurer and I got it, and I've been treasurer since. Definitely a hard position to manage, but it's been a great opportunity for me. And so I ran for president this past like election season and I got it. So I will be president of IEEE for the next year. I recommend all incoming students to check it out because it's really like you don't have to be an electrical engineer, obviously. I'm president and I'm software engineering. And it's just great to like get some hands-on experience or meet other students that are kind of like interested in robotics and electronics and fun things like that. And then we're also going to have a lot more professional development events coming up. So we have an alumni networking event coming up, which is going to be great. And yeah, so that was IEEE. And then I also got involved with an organization called INCOSE. So that's the International Council on Systems Engineering. I work as a systems engineer currently, and the current president of INCOSE, she knew that. So she kind of reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to be on our e-board? Like we could really, we could use someone like you because INCOSE wasn't actually an organization on campus. We are trying to get it to be an organization on campus because it's pretty big in the industries that I've been involved with so far. And, when I meet people in industry, they'll either say that they're involved in IEEE or INCOSE. So I was like, yes, let's get this on Stevens campus. And we actually just got approved as a step 3 organization as of last week. So that's great. We only have one more step. And then, so I think all of next year, we're going to have a pretty good year for INCOSE. The, uh, I'm currently the treasurer, but I came on as secretary. So and we're also having elections for that because we need to fill 2 more positions for our executive board. But INCOSE is great. It's really been a good opportunity for me to like help organization on campus, which I never thought I would be that person. But yeah. And then also, I am an RA on campus. So I'm a resident assistant. I live on campus. That takes up a large portion of my life as well because as an RA, you are an RA everywhere, kind of. Like, when you walk on campus, people know you. And it's been a great opportunity for me because I always wanted to be an RA because I was inspired by my RA in the first generation LLC. And once I got the position, I was like all in and I got rehired for next year. So I think that's everything I'm involved in. I'm also a National Science Foundation Adapt STEM Scholar. So I'm a peer mentor for that program as well. So that's also a great program that kind of promotes like academic progress and everything like that. And it helps students pursue like research and things that they're interested in. So that's great.
Those are excellent resume building activities. Very,
Yeah,
very impressive.
thank
Um,
you.
all students always want to hear about the internships. SRI International, I believe you said was an electrical engineering internship. Love to
Yes.
hear about that internship, what kind of work you were doing, what you liked about it, and then ultimately why you've switched and now are working more in systems engineering and working Like to hear about your current position too, I believe, which is at L3 Harris, right?
Yes.
Love to hear about those two opportunities.
Yeah, of course. So my freshman year, as I said, I was in co-op, so I was going to all the career fairs. I was trying to get, my foot in the door, and I ended up getting an opportunity with SRI International, and it was an electrical engineering position. And at that time, I had declared software, I believe, or maybe I hadn't. I might not have declared software engineering yet. So I was just kind of like, okay, let's try it, why not? And it was a great opportunity. I was commuting to Princeton from where I live, which is an hour south of Hoboken, so it wasn't too bad of a commute. And it was a great opportunity. I got a lot of skills that I continue to use every day in industry and everything. But mainly what I did was I worked in a lab where I tested microchips for spectroscopy machines, which are basically like the things that go in chem labs, like the machines that you look through. So I worked in like an imaging department. And it was super cool. It was great. It wasn't something I was familiar with before, and I learned about it. And I worked a lot with MATLAB and things like that. They used LabVIEW as well, which is a software tool I hadn't known about. And it was great to get those skills and also meet a lot of people that were willing to help me learn. And I think that's the biggest part of internships is that the people that you meet are more likely than not going to want to help you learn what, that their job is all about so that you have an idea of what you want to do in the future. Um, and it was a great experience. And then I got my offer for L3 Harris and I wanted to try something different. So that's why I just switched. It wasn't because I didn't like doing what I was doing. It was just because let's try something new. I think that's the biggest piece of advice is I could give to someone who's an underclassman is don't be afraid to try different things. So I went to L3 Harris last summer and it was a great experience. I actually worked on like this intern executive board that we had. They had a whole like intern program there. It was really great. And I was like a communications chair for it. So I was planning all these intern events and getting everyone together. So we went to like Six Flags, we had a dinner. It was totally not what I expected. And the work I was doing was also super interesting. It was like I was working with Python, things like that, and it was a lot of software too, which made me realize, oh, like there's a place for software in systems and all these different fields. So I was very happy that I chose the major I did. And it also pushed me to look into getting my master's in systems. And yeah, but we also had presentations at L3 Harris, and I ended up winning first place for the systems department and second place overall. Yeah, it was super awesome. I was like, I was super happy about it. I worked really hard. I did. And I was glad that it was paying off and that my work was, being looked at and appreciated. And then I ended up getting or being able to work part-time with them. So I've been working part-time throughout the school year with them, which has been great. They're super accommodating. So I actually work remotely with the Rochester, New York location. So I have my Zoom calls, I log in, I'm working on a little tool, and it's great. I'm still learning and they're very accommodating as I have like a pretty rough schedule. I'm taking like 20 credits this semester, so it's been a lot. Next semester is going to be a little better, so I would definitely, I'm excited for that. But yeah, my internships were great. I'm going back to L3 Harris this summer just because I've kind of created a bond there and I do enjoy it. So I haven't been looking for any other internships, but yeah, so
Same, working in the same area at L3 Harris, continuing your work or working in a new department?
I'll actually be splitting my time between the Clifton office and the Rochester office. So I'll be going into Clifton, working there on site, and I'll also be doing work remotely with Rochester.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna see how it goes. Because I am splitting my time basically between two different departments, but I think it'll be good.
Excellent. It's great to have, strong emotions connected to the experience because I think figuring out what you want to do versus what you don't want to do so helpful as students are trying to figure out what's next for them. Um, I wanted to ask you, I know we're working towards AMP and what do you think you're going to get your master's in and how does that relate to maybe like a 5 year plan for you or where do you see yourself in 5 years? What industries or are you, most interested in? Software is such a it's
Yeah.
has such so many application areas. So what does software engineering look like for you in 5 years? Where is it going to take you?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think that my major is related heavily to where I'm going because I feel like, software engineering, you would think Google, Amazon, but my interests are really more in like defense and space. So that's where I see myself going. And L3 Harris is a defense contractor, so I work for them right now. And I'm hoping that my goal is to navigate towards space sectors. So like rockets, things like that is really where I'm interested in. So that's why I'm gonna pursue my master's in space systems rather than just systems. Um, just because it's what I'm interested in. And I really didn't have that when I came into Stevens. I did not know what I was interested in at all. I just knew I wanted to do engineering. And so throughout my time here, I really found like, oh, I know what I want to do. I do want to do space. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to work towards it. And software engineering does have a place there. So I do think in 5 years, I'm not sure. I'm gonna be graduating I guess I'll be done December 2026, like completely, I think. Yeah, I should be done next December with everything. But is that right? I'm trying to think. Well, 4.5 years soon, but yeah, it will be December 2026. After that, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might maybe hopefully continue with Elder Harris. I do enjoy like that. So I would like to continue working there, or maybe I won't. But I do want to travel as well. So I want to take some time for myself to travel, um, go backpacking, things like that. And then in terms of my job, I want to do something with space. And then I also want to give back to Stevens because one thing I've learned is, I didn't really get to where I am by myself at all. It was a lot of the people I've interacted with who had similar situations as me or came from similar backgrounds as me, being first gen, being a step student, things like that, where, they look out for me. I want to be that as well. So that's kind of why I like doing the accepted students weekends where I could talk to students. Being an RA is also great. I could talk to students about their experiences, share my journey, try and give the best advice I can and do that. So that's also something I want to do. But yeah, I really feel like you don't know where you're gonna be. Like, and I think that's the best part of it.
That sounds like great advice for our current first year students. So taking each day as it comes, trying a whole bunch of new things. Any other words of advice for our undecided freshmen or soon to be freshmen?
Honestly, the best piece of advice that I got was like, it's not gonna matter as much as you think it does. Obviously, choose a major that resonates with you. And, if you're interested in coding, maybe don't choose civil engineering. Like, you want to choose something that's somewhat in line with where you think you might go. But in the end, we're all engineers and we're all coming from Stevens, so we're learning similar things. It's just really what your expertise is going to be. And if you don't like it, you could always switch. I think when I chose software, I was a little nervous that, what if I don't like this? What if I can't do this? It ended up being a good decision for me, but I think that when you go into college, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to know what you're doing, and that's normal and that's okay. So I would just say don't stress about it as much as you probably are for first gen or first year students, because I was so stressed. And it really wasn't that big of a deal.
I love that. I want to not stress every day of my life.
Yeah.
So, and we always end our podcast with give us your best pitch. I know you already won an award for your presentation skills at Alfred Paris. So, I give us your best pitch why someone should choose software engineering.
It's so cool and it's so new. I feel like for me, it was like, oh, I have no idea what this is. I'm gonna do that. Like a part of it was that. So if you're interested in it and it's something that intrigues you, or you have maybe an affinity for also being a leader, things like that, I really feel like software engineering, a lot of the aspects of it are, management and planning things. And of course, there's coding, but coding is also something you can learn, something that will come over time. But if you have an affinity for speaking to people, communication, things like that, which I always did, so that was also part of it. Definitely choose software engineering. And also, it's super cool to be like, hey, yeah, I'm studying software engineering. I mean, yeah.
That's awesome. So that's all the time we have for today. A huge thank you to our guest, Gianna, for sharing her journey and her wisdom with us on Find Your Flock. If you're feeling inspired, confused, or just curious, you're not alone. That's why we're all here. Make sure to follow and share it with someone else who's exploring their next steps.
Thank you so much.